Once upon a time, two young miner friends from east, they decided to go west, prospecting for gold and make their fortune prosperous. And based on their study and research, they found out a place to dig, in expecting that there was a gold mine underneath of this land, and they started digging that place. They were working continuously 7 days in a week. But after 1 year of rigorous try and hard work, when they found just few useless rocks, they get tired and demotivated to continue their searching. Then they sold this place to another prospector and went back to start their life with another job. Now this new prospector has hired a mining engineer to assess this land. And after some study, the mining engineer identified that there was gold mine. But last two prospectors had been digging in the wrong direction. Now, this new prospector took advice from mining engineer and he started digging that place from where the last two prospector had given up. And just having dug 2 feet more deeper, he hit the mother lode of gold. And over the next few years, he made $40 million with this gold. When two miner friends came to know about this incident, they realized that they had given up too early and they did not have one thing, that was the guidance from an expert mining engineer. Then they decided that for the rest of their career, they will dig a little deeper, they will walk a little harder, and the most important thing, they will always take guidance from the best expert. This decision made them successful later on. This story teaches us that if we want to attain the objectives of our life, we must have two things. Number one, we have to be persistent. And number two, we must take advice from the experts. When I was reading this story, I was imagining myself with these two miner friends who were trying hard to get success, but they did not have any guidance from experts. And I was also feeling the same when I started reading first time almost 1.5 years ago just to improve my communication skill. And I faced few problems to continue my reading journey. And my problems were like, that book I took that time to read, there was lots of new words, and after spending 1 hour on reading every day, I would see that my notebook is filled with lot of new vocabularies, but I could read hardly 2 or 3 pages. And the second biggest problem that I faced in the beginning of my reading journey, that was, suppose I am reading a chapter or any paragraph, and after reading this chapter, I would feel that maybe I have not understood it clearly. And to understand properly, I would read the chapter or the paragraph again and again, and that would consume a lot of time. And in result, I was losing the motivation for reading. And I started assuming that maybe reading is not my cup of tea. And all these things were happening just because lack of knowledge about reading, that what to read, how to read, and how to manage time for reading. But regardless of all these difficulties, somehow I read this book completely. But it took me a little long time. That is 6 months. Yes, it's true. To complete this book, it took me 6 months. But luckily, after few days, while searching on YouTube, I found a YouTube channel where an author was telling about reading. How a reader can read more, how a reader can learn more, and how reader can build their reading habit. And from this author, I first time came to know that if we are reading a book and there is lot of new words and we are getting more than 5 new words in a page, we must keep this book side to read later on. Because reading books and learning vocabularies are two different things, and our brain is not able to do two things at a time. Maybe the book is very good and useful, but the timing is wrong. From this author, I have learned many things about reading, and when I was implementing all those tips on my reading, I started reading more pages in less time, and I was started gaining my lost motivation for reading. And then I read the book The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Readers. From this book, I first time came to know that there is a difference between learning and studying. We study in fear that whatever knowledge we are gaining right now, we will be tested one day by others to check that whatever knowledge we gain, whether we have learned it properly or not. But learning is totally different from studying. If we want to learn something, we can learn without studying also, as we have learned our mother tongue. And reading habit is all about learning new ideas or concepts from books, not to study on them. And there is no need for rereading, because we human being possesses largest brain amongst the animal kingdom, and our brain is able to process things at a faster speed than our eyes. So while reading, if we feel or struggle to understand any sentence or chapter or paragraph, we must remember one thing, that is, if this paragraph or chapter is important, the author has definitely described it in coming chapter also, and we will get enough chance to understand it thoroughly, because the author does not leave any stone unturned to make us understand about his concepts or ideas that he wants to share with us through this book. So while reading, when we are thinking that we are not understanding the paragraph or the concept properly, we need to just read continuously forward, because we will definitely end up learning something. To improve my reading habit, when I was following all the suggestions that I got from the author and his book, simultaneously I was reading book summaries from the app Booklet. And having read more than 100 book summaries, I realized that this app is designed such a way to keep the readers engaged with reading, so that the habit of reading is built naturally. I like most in Booklet, which is IQ generating part. That means when we read or listen to a new book summary, we are rewarded with 1 IQ point. And this feature always encourages me to read more and more. When I read the summary of this book Yummy Boy first time, I got 1 point, as every reader. And now my IQ point is more than 148. And during my reading journey with Booklet, I did not get to know when my habit of reading has been built naturally. And while reading book summaries from Booklet, I learned many things from different categories, like on food, exercise, concentration, relationships, parenting, communication. And when I started implementing all these learnings in my life, I could see that improvements. And my friends and family members, they can always recognize my improvement. And that's how I built my reading habit. And thanks to Amrut Deshmukh sir, who has been guiding readers to read more, to learn more, and to build their reading habit. And he wrote such a wonderful book for new readers and for those who are struggling to build their reading habit. And he has designed Booklet app such a way where the habit of reading is bound to be cultivated. When I started reading books first time just to improve my communication skill, but now I realize that reading is essential to live a happy and satisfied life. And as a reader, my best achievement so far is I have read a book in just less than 10 days. The name of the book is Speak to Win, written by Brian Tracy. And the story I shared in the beginning of this video, I took this story from the book Speak to Win. Like young minor friends, we are also digging in form of reading, and our goal is our knowledge. This knowledge makes us confident and courageous to attain the objective of our life. So start reading books and gain knowledge to feel the confidence and the courage that we all need to feel to become successful in our life. And there is a quote: reading is essential for those who seek to rise above the ordinary. Jim Rohn.